What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is episode number 2 on food plots for beginners. If you guys are new, please be sure to subscribe. Click that bell notification so you guys never miss a video. Also drop a comment down below if you guys have any questions regarding this video. I reply to everybody's comment. Alright guys, so yesterday's video we talked about location, the amount of sunlight, and the pH for picking a food plot for your very first time. Like I said, we're going to scroll through these videos one day at a time, and hopefully at the end of it you guys have tons of questions, obviously, but hopefully it gives you a better understanding about keeping it simple when planting a food plot. So your next step after you get your soil sample, you find enough area that has enough sunlight and all that other stuff. Now it's time to actually work that soil, add the lime, and all this other stuff. This is step 2. So after you get done all that, make sure you do what the soil sample says. You add that correct amount of lime. Now, most areas you can either, depending how big your food plot is, you want to get pelletized lime. It's just easier to spread. You can buy it in bags. It's usually roughly about $3.40. I say that specific number because typically around Maryland, that's about what it is for a 50-pound bag. So it's about $3. I've seen it as low as about $3.23. Now, when you're spreading, the like ag lime, like powder, lime, compared to pelletized lime, it's usually you can use less pelletized lime, but your soil sample will tell you exactly what to do. So if it tells you, you need to add 1,000 pounds of lime, you better make sure you add 1,000 pounds of lime, because there's no point in planting a food plot if you're not going to follow these steps, because you're going to waste your time. And like I said, you're going to have a huge disappointment. And yeah, some deer may, browse on it. It may grow a little bit, but it's not going to be the best it can be. And you want to see the best results you can possibly get. So add that lime in there. Now, your best time to do this is in the winter time. So if you can get out there now, January, February, somewhere around there, pick this area, dig some soil up, send it out. That way now you can get the correct amount of lime, get that lime in there before, March, April, May, whatever area state you live in, depending on, where, your time frame, when temperatures start warming up and things like that. You can get out there now, add that lime. Therefore, like I said, March, April, May, June, the soil is a little bit better and you're ready to go. It takes time. You can't just add lime and be instant fix. It's not going to work. So you have to let that lime work in that soil and let it do its thing. And then when you're ready to plant, 3, 4, 5 months down the road, you're ready to go. Yes, you can lime and plant at the same time. You're not going to have, as good as results, but if that's what you want to do, you can do that too. It will, grow. It's not going to be the best it can, but at least as long as you add that lime, high five, because you want that food plot to be the best that it can possibly be. So now when you're adding the lime, what I did personally was the ground, on the one property that I work on, it was too wet. It was the middle of winter. It was frozen. It was wet. It was snowing. So I didn't get in there and disc it in. All I did was take that lime and we just broadcasted it over top the soil. And over time, it works in. It's not the best way to do it, but it works. So when it was time to plant, then we disc it in, and then that's even better. So you get less runoff that way too. But over time, it works, because 6 months later down the road, I checked it. And I started out with a 5.2, 5.3, and I was left with a 6.5. So we're going to recheck that again here in the next couple months, see where we're at. If we need to add more, we'll add more. If not, then thumbs up. So get that lime out there, no matter if it's, wintertime, springtime, whatever, but just get that lime out there. Let it do its thing. And then once you are ready to plant, you have to decide on what type of seed that you want to plant. Now, I'm not an expert when it comes to this, but where I'm from in Maryland, there's a lot of different varieties that I can choose from. Now, if you're in the South, some things aren't going to work as good as if you were in the north, Midwest, or or some area like that. In the South, clovers probably aren't your best bet because it's just so hot. The clovers, they're just not going. They're going to grow, but clovers are pretty much like a cool season, variety. You don't want it to be scalding hot out. You want it to be in the Northeast, where springtime, you're in the 60s, 55ish, 70s, 80s, and summer you're in your about average temps about 85 or so. You go down to the South and Georgia, Alabama, Florida, and all that. I mean, you're 100 degrees every day. Clover's just not going to do well. So if you're in the Northeast, clover's a great choice. There's tons of different varieties of clovers that you can choose from, but find a variety that you want to choose. Now, if you're looking to do a spring food plot, okay, my best advice in doing this is to plant buckwheat. I planted buckwheat. Now, buckwheat is very good for the soil. It's very high in protein. And when you plant buckwheat, it's only good for about 60 days. So if you're in the north and you have a short growing season, you're going, a lot of times you can skip that spring food plot and you can go right to the fall food plot. But if you want to get something in there, the key is to have something green and growing all year long. So my advice is to plant buckwheat. If that area, depending how big it is, throw that buckwheat in there. It's gonna throw nutrients in the soil. It's going to be green manure, and it's going to provide high protein for the animals. Now, with buckwheat, once you plant it, it grows very fast. So in about 60 to 75 days, its growing period is done. But the deer aren't going to eat it until it flowers up. So once it grows, it's going to get 3-4 feet tall, 2.5 to 4 feet tall. And when it flowers up, with beautiful white flowers on it, the deer are going to devour it. Once they do that, let them eat that. Till that in, it's going to be green manure for the soil. Then you can plant your fall food plot. Now, a lot of food plots fail because people plant annuals. Annuals don't grow back. A deer takes a bite of it and it dies off. So if you have a 20 by 20 area, okay, and you're planting annuals, the deer are going to eat that and it's not going to grow back. And then a month or 2 months down the road, you're going to have bare dirt because there's nothing else left. You want something that grows all the time if it's a small food plot. If you're hunting over these little kill plots, straight brassicas is probably not your best idea because once that deer takes that leaf off, and it don't grow back, there's nothing else there, that tonnage is gone. So you want to have a variety. You want to do like clovers, winter wheat, oats, something that grows, that constantly grows, where they take a bite, it constantly grows back. So therefore, 2 months down the road, you're not left with bare dirt. You still have green and growing, plants. So that's step 2, is to get that soil worked up, get that lime in there, and pick something that you want to plant. You have to pick something. That's the hardest part. So what do you plant? Like I said, my advice is, if you have a short growing season, if you're in the Northeast, is just to throw that buckwheat in there. Throw that buckwheat in there. It's good for about 60 days. It's a warm season, plant. So you want to plant that somewhere. It loves heat. So you want to plant it, I'd say, middle May, 1st of June. That way at 60 days, August 1st, August 15th, till that in, and you can go ahead and plant your fall food plot. So join in tomorrow's video. We're going to talk a little bit more about specific plants, varieties that you can plant, when to plant them, and how to actually work that soil up in tomorrow's video. So be sure you guys tune back in. Food plots for beginners.